Hi everybody, this is Christy from the Be the Light YouTube channel. Today is April the 24th. It is the day after my birthday, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who have reached out to me and given me a shout out, a blessing, so much love. It is so appreciated. Yesterday, talking about this, my birthday wasn't something that I wanted to really get into, but holidays or birthdays and things like that were a time when I felt I had the need to celebrate. Yes, I did have I had gifts yesterday and things like that, but the need to celebrate wasn't necessary. Yesterday was just another day for myself. Of course, I knew I was getting older because of my birth, but because of where I am in my awakening process, I have learned to really, and especially this year especially, I have really stepped into enjoyment of every single day. I live in a state of gratitude. I live in a state of being blessed that I am living. So yesterday was no different than any other day, except yesterday I received a few gifts and tons of love from other people. But the love that I have on the inside and give always is the same. I appreciate what is given to me, but it doesn't affect who I am and what I am doing. And I hope that makes sense, because that's the difference between somebody who isn't awake to someone who is. When you think with the ego all the time, you have a high expectation of how things are supposed to play out in your life. And you have an expectation of, I have to receive on certain times of your life. But when you are just enjoying your life and enjoying loving, all this other stuff isn't necessary, but there's tons of gratitude still, but it doesn't make you who you are. You make yourself who you are from all the things that you are on the inside, by all of the things that you have let go of in your past. So again, I want to say thank you for it. I appreciate it. I take it into my heart as an extra blessing from the universe, and I receive your love. But I always send it back to you today, tomorrow, and continuously. This video, I am going to talk about something that, again, I had no idea. What we think we know has nothing to do with truth. And this is really new for me. I've been trying to figure this out for a couple of days. It's a message that was given to me about my path, and that it was time for me to finally step into a new part of my life where I will be connecting the Rainbow Bridge, where I am now going to be receiving and activating all kinds of light. And traveling and things like that. And when traveling in a spiritual or spiritual practice or the ascension process, it's not like I'm going to get into my car and physically go somewhere travel. This is a part of the ascension traveling. This is the spirit will be traveling to the higher dimensions, your consciousness will be traveling, will be raising its awareness, and things like that. So I've been trying to figure out what this rainbow, because my messages have come in pieces from what I just discovered today, that, okay, all of these messages have been pieces of a whole. And sometimes they will come in that way. And sometimes it comes in together, where I know instantly that this is just one message. And sometimes, like I just said, it comes in one day I'll have bits and pieces. The next day I'll receive a little bit more. So the understanding just came to me today. I saw the bridge and then the rainbow on 2 separate days, and making the connection has just taken place today as a result of how I am feeling today. It's been a while since I have felt, I don't want to say low, symptomatic, I guess is how I should say, because now I have asked my angels and my guides, my higher self, to really step in here to release some of the symptoms, and they have already subsided a little bit. I woke up with intense upper body discomfort, and more so my head and my neck, and blurred vision in my right eye. Now also, this is something that I want to emphasize. There are a lot of sites that have a list of levels through your light body activation. From what I have discovered by reading several of these sites and comparing notes, that your activations can hop around from level to level to level to level. At least that's how mine has been. So there hasn't been a consistency where I can say, okay, I am at the 8th level of light body activation and stay there and know that I will be jumping to the 9th level soon. No, mine has been where I have things that are activating in the 9th and 10th, but I'm still back at 7, or whatever it is. There's a lot of hopping around, and there's no one set rule. That's what I'm trying to say here. There is no set rule as to how things will play out in your life. So it's okay to read, and I love learning about this type of information, taking in information like this, and I don't get hung up on being in a set level or categorizing myself at this stage and stage. Yeah, I kind of, would like to know, because then I have more to look forward to. But regardless, you have a lot to look forward to because of where you currently are in your process. And if you are doing your process, it's only going to get better. You're only going to progress. So don't hold on to categorizing yourself. That's something that I have always mentioned as well, is that you don't want to categorize or name really where you're at, because that's when you have that expectation of something or the attachment to it. Just allow things to be, and you'll be better off for it. You'll feel your emotions won't be attached to a certain way. Therefore, you won't expect a certain outcome. So I am sorry I got off track there. But so, as I was reading all of those light body activation things, I came in thinking to certain things, and I'm like, well, this hasn't happened. So there's no way that I am going to this other level. I always kept that in my mind. This part hasn't happened. So I know I'm always going to come back to this. And this is what's taking place today. the Bible speaks about the Ark of the Covenant, and there are people in this entire world who are actually looking for the Ark of the Covenant, and I'm sure that there is an actual container. I don't know if there really is now, because I know that the Bible is just speaking, yes, Jesus lived, and the things that are in the Bible took place at a time. But for us, it's all symbolic. We're supposed to take in the Bible and use it as a symbolism towards energy in our life, towards the physicality of our being. It's so misunderstood that Jesus is light, that his crucifixion is going to take place within your physical form, in order for you to be transferred into light yourself, light source yourself, and you will experience the death process within your human form as you are awakening and ascending into your light being. So anyway, back to the Ark of the Covenant. I have awoken with a headache and the neck ache. More of the pressure, like I said, in the upper chest and up. And the Ark of the Covenant cannot be activated until your Sacred Heart is activated. And that's something that we just went through most of April with the 444 gateways, April the 2nd, and again on April the 22nd. I'm sorry, April the 4th, and then again on April the 22nd. It was about opening up to your Sacred Heart, your spiritual heart, your soul's heart. And this is not your physical heart. And I'm not going to talk more about that today because I have a separate video about that. So please go check that out, about your Sacred Heart, later on. So the Ark of the Covenant is when the pineal gland and the pituitary gland kind of like becomes bridged. This is considered to be the fourth eye, the third and fourth eye activation. The fourth eye, and please bear with me because this is something that I have it took me a long time to find some information about. So like I said, I have more of the frontal crown discomfort, the top of the crown discomfort, and radiating down to my neck, because also what I have been experiencing, and I have been questioning why haven't I been feeling this in a while, is the kundalini energy rising again. And it rose last night to the point of a pressure kind of just going into my chest and making me almost want to hover. It was so powerful. And it was seeping into my upper body, which is where I have the discomfort today. So I am bridging which is a rainbow bridge, the connection between the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. And this is supposed to be part of the 8th level of your light body activation. But like I said, don't get hung up on levels, because you will probably go back and forth between certain levels of activation. There is no right and wrong. It's sometimes just how it goes. And so the reasons why I am having the upper body discomfort, the upper chest, the throat, in the head is because the kundalini has come up here. It's radiated through the heart, the sacred heart, your throat, all the way up to your crown. And of course, it is bridging the pituitary and the pineal gland. Okay, so the process is that the rainbow light is going from the back of the brain, where the pineal gland is located, and up to the third eye, and the pituitary gland. This in itself is called the Ark of the Covenant. It is a rainbow light that is sent out. And the purpose of this is to connect you with your multi-dimensional self. And when the fourth eye is completely activated, it wakes up the third eye. It releases a rainbow light which goes down from the third eye into the fourth eye. Which I have already been seeing flashes of light, more color in my vision already, kind of sparks here and there. So again, all of this is finally making sense to me. It's taking me a couple of days to know that this step was taking place. Okay, so this is interesting because through the I just had to read further prior to talking about this. In the light body activation phases, a lot of this, like the symptoms, are left out, and the purpose of things are left out. But the purpose of being able to activate your fourth eye here in the Ark of the Covenant, whew, so cold today, is to allow you to reach higher levels. You become multi-dimensional. So that's where your connection becomes, and this is the purpose of it all. The fourth eye sends out that light, which is received into the third eye, or the pituitary gland, which is your physical connection. Once the four lower bodies are fully developed, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies all need to be unified within your own field of light. When this occurs, all is merged as one unified field of light. The four lower bodies, the lower chakras, the alpha and the omega chakras, the higher chakras, the higher Christ self, your own Christed oversoul, and the I Am presence, including the Holy Father. And this is something, again, I don't understand all of this. My process is a process of experiencing it and figuring it out. I am always guided previously. God guides my steps. The light beings who are assisting me on my journey are always warning me, but sometimes I don't have that understanding just yet until I hit that experience. And the point, though, is that even within our own life, you never really understand something until you experience it yourself. Like for those who are not even waking up, this information that I'm giving to you is probably nonsense because you haven't experienced it. It doesn't mean it's not true. It just means your understanding to it isn't there because you haven't been a witness to it. And that's what it also means to be a perfect witness. You have gone through it, you believe in it, and you are moving with it. So once you hit this level here of activation and unification, you will be able to figure out who the higher Christ self is, and the over soul being is as well. I am excited to figure out what this is, and from what this woman has, and I need to give her credit in my notes. This is her personal journey. So what she has mentioned here is that you will not receive this information through any of your clairs. It will actually come through interdimensionally. And again, it makes sense to me because of my message that I was given yesterday and a few days ago, that this connection will allow me to travel kind of like at the speed of light is what I was seeing, and in order to travel that way, or what that means usually is through different dimensions. So it makes sense. And I know a lot of times my videos don't make sense, and I am talking to you as I am really learning at the same time. Our journeys are all just a learning process. Whether or not we are on a spiritual growth process or not, it is a process of going through something, having that experience, learning it, understanding it, and loving it, and finally integrating it, no matter what it is. Your health journey, you have to go through the motions of eating correctly, moving your body, and loving that process, going through the highs and the lows of losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, all that kind of stuff. It's a process. And if you can't enjoy this and take it in as you go, then there's just no point. You're going to miss out on the greatest part of your journey, and that is this process. So that is where I am today, and this is kind of making me feel a little blah. I'm excited, but because of my head feeling kind of loopy, anything that goes on in the head can make you feel loopy. There's just pressure there, and of course with my eyesight being compromised, my eyesight has always been compromised. It comes and goes for the past 2 years now of my awakening process. One summer I actually lost complete vision within my right eye, the same eye that I have the problems with continuously throughout this journey. And it was the worst when it first began, to the point that I actually was terrified that I was going to lose my vision. But I snapped out of it pretty quick. It took me about a couple of weeks, and I figured out, no, I'm not going to fall for this. I'm going to live within my spirit, which is within love, and not within the fear, which is in the human form. So every time you flip it to reflect love, no matter what you are going through, if you are experiencing anything physical, emotional, whatever it is, when you flip it to love, you are choosing to live within your spirit. And every time that you stay within the fear or the anxiety of what's happening to you, you are choosing to live within the flesh of your human self, which means you are going to limit your experience and limit your understanding to what is actually taking place. I'm not saying that every single symptom that you have is a spiritual thing. You choose what you are going to believe. And if there's anything in your life that needs for you to seek medical advice, I recommend that you do so. It is not my way any longer, because I have learned that you cannot choose two masters. You cannot flip back and forth between what you are going to believe. You have to believe in love or fear. because one or the other is going to win when you give into it. And any slight movement to the left or the right, fear or love, that one will win. And I want love to win in all aspects of my life. It's a practice. You have to teach yourself to trust your choices, to trust in your heart, in your spirit, to move you forward at all times. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.